there are impediments potentially to the Dallas Cowboys, despite the fact that they're 2-1. One is the periodic mismanagement of the clock by head coach Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones, in his Tuesday appearance on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas-Fort Worth, he does Tuesdays and Fridays, day after the victory, they reluctantly asked him, Sean and RJ did, about the clock management problems that reared their ugly head just before halftime of last night's game when the Eagles had the ball and when Mike McCarthy failed to use timeouts to ensure that the Cowboys would have a chance to maybe score some more points and extend their 20-7 lead. Here's Jones talking about McCarthy's issues or not with clock management.
Other teams have issues with clock management. That's part of the game. Let's cut things some slack and realize that if you do enough plays, we were critical of Garrett when he was here, and don't you think that goes with the territory?
Yes.
That's my point. I know firsthand Mike's capabilities and have know how he approaches it, the logic that he uses, and I'm not a bit concerned about his ability to manage a tight situation.
I get it that a certain amount of criticism goes with the territory, but that doesn't make the criticism wrong. Jerry mentioned that we used to criticize Jason Garrett. Well, yeah, justifiably. He mismanaged the clock, and that was more when he was the head coach and the play caller. And that was the macro and the micro, the walking and chewing gum at the same time. You're so caught up in the game specific play calling. One play after another, you may lose sight of the bigger picture as to how you're managing your team. But really, on game day, head coach decides when to go for it on fourth down, go for two, onside kick, fake punt, and ultimately clock management. That's one of your most important functions. And so many kids out there play Madden. We all know when the clock is being butchered. And do other teams have those issues? Yeah, and we call them out when they do. It's not every team. You can't say every other team has clock management issues. Bill Belichick doesn't have clock management issues, and that's what everyone should aspire to be. It's not that difficult. The challenge is keeping your wits about you when you're out there in the middle of that 70,000-person crucible having to make decisions in real time. That's where it becomes a challenge. The best coaches can do it. The not best coaches tend to struggle. Charean.
The concern for the Cowboys, Mike, is this has come up twice now in 3 games, and the Cowboys managed to win both of those games, which is why Jerry said what he said. If the Cowboys had lost last week and again this week and were sitting there 0-3, I bet Jerry Jones would have had a better answer than that, a different answer than that. But the kicker bails him out last week with a 56-yard field goal, and frankly, the Eagles bailed him out this time because they were so bad last night that the Cowboys didn't need those points before the half. But the Eagles faced a 3rd and 24. Your defense has stopped them, aside from the first play of the game to Dallas Goedert. They've stopped them. So call the timeout, reserve the time. You're at least going to get a chance to kick a field goal off of that, or should. And they didn't do it. And to me, it was a failure to put your trust in Dak. You keep saying Dak's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You've paid him as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Call those timeouts, reserve it, put your trust in that defense, which has played really well so far. Get the ball back for Dak, and then trust Dak to go lead them down and kick at least a field goal, if not get a touchdown. And the Eagles at that point would have been finished. As it was, you let them hang around because they're, still only 2 touchdowns down at the half, and they were still in the game at that point. If you'd scored again right there, it surely would have been over, and it was quickly over in the 3rd quarter, but they could have put it away far earlier.
There's a counter-argument to that, and I'm trying to be fair to Mike McCarthy, and there are 2 of them.
Yeah.
One is tongue-in-cheek, and that is this. The counter-argument that is kind of a joke is that he didn't want the ball back because he only would have screwed up the clock management with a final opportunity, and it would have been more glaring, so it's better to screw it up while the Eagles have the ball. The other one, and it reminds me of a game from 23 years ago where the score was 20-7 late in the first half, and the team that was leading 20-7 decided to go pedal to the metal to try to deliver a death blow before halftime, and that was the then 16-1 Minnesota Vikings against the Atlanta Falcons, and Chuck Smith came around the end, knocked out the ball. The Falcons recovered. They scored a touchdown. It was 20-14 at halftime, and that was a far different vibe in those 12 minutes back in 1998. And I still don't believe you should reside in your fears. I think you should be aggressive. But the only argument in favor of McCarthy is I was so convinced that we're the superior team, and I was so convinced we were going to come out of the gates in the second half and continue to kick their asses that I didn't want to give them an opening with some sort of mistake that could make it 20-14 and they get a lift because they get the ball first in the third quarter. And it worked out. Hey, it worked out. Pick six, it's 27-7, death blow delivered then. That was when it was time to sing Turn Out the Lights, the party's over. And so it worked. But, and you know what? Maybe Mike McCarthy just should have explained it the way I just explained it. Maybe he should have said, I firmly believe that we were going to suffocate this team. I firmly believe that we were fine. And I didn't want to get greedy because I've seen instances in the past where teams get greedy and something happens, and the next thing you know, it's 20-14. Case in point, 1998 NFC Championship game.
Well, you explained it far better than he did, Mike. And that's the thing. He hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt because so many of these things have happened with him over the years, not just here, but at Green Bay too. But it happened last year. It happened in the Chargers game. It's happened repeatedly. So he hasn't earned that benefit of the doubt that I would like to give him in this game. But if you explain it like you explained it, I would have said, yeah, okay, I buy that because you were the better team. You proved you're the better team in the first half and the second half. You came out and you quickly put them away. But, you know, he's got to fix those problems going forward or Jerry Jones is going to have a different answer. And that different answer at some point might be, hey, we got Kellen Moore sitting over here who may be a head coaching candidate at some point. I'll just put him in and make him my head coach if you can't handle time management.
And Jerry could have explained it the way I explained it. Instead of just acting like, well, you know, it's just unfair criticism and everybody has clock management issues. No. You could make the case it's not even a clock management issue. That's a better argument than, yeah, we kind of screwed up, but everybody screws up, and we like to criticize people for screwing up. Maybe we didn't screw up. Maybe there was method to the apparent madness.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.